Welcome to Kyrgyzstan, a country I knew almost nothing about before this trip, but over the last 4 days, I've been completely blown away. From hunting for hidden street food gems in the capital city Bishkek, to an insane mountain adventure where we cooked with one of the biggest vloggers in the country. Buckle up, because our first stop was Samsa #1, a roadside restaurant I fell in love with from first sight. Clay pots of shaurma, a local stew made of meat and winter veg, was kept on a rolling boil curbside. But that wasn't what we came for. What we came for was the samsa. So this is pastry, fresh pastry, baked in that tandoor, and then it's filled with meat and onion. And these guys do such a high volume, they just whip them out, keep them in this box. And this is tandoori, this is the local bread as well. So this is literally just come out of the oven. It's a really wet dough, so the guy's having to constantly keep it moving. Slaps it to the pan, then in that tandoor. Probably only takes about 5 minutes. Oh, it smells wonderful. Get a break over. It's quite a dense dough, but when we're dipping it in that shaurma soup, it's gonna be wonderful. And this is the shaurma. So you can see the stew is basically cooked in the stock with beef and bones and winter veg, and it's just kept on a rolling boil. And they've even got the bones in there, so you're getting all the flavor, the marrow kind of coming out into the soup. Come back to this. Look at it. The juice is just coming out of that. It's funny because the dough is actually quite crispy on the outside, so I thought it was gonna be a bit soggy, but it's not. It's just holding all of that flavor. All right, I have to go in. First bit of food in Kyrgyzstan. Okay. Oh yeah. I need to go for one more bite. Because you've got all the stock, the flavor of the meat is so rich. And it's fatty, but it's not greasy or oily. Now I'm from the south of Devon. This is like a Kyrgyzstan Cornish pasty. You Brits know what I'm talking about. But that is wonderful. You get flavors of the onion through it. That is sensational. Okay, so we've just been told we've got this here. So this is just onion with chili. It smells pickled. And apparently we have this with the samsa, so I'm just gonna literally just get a big handful of it. Put it on the samsa. Okay. This is like the sharpness of the onion just cuts through the fat. It's not pickled, it's fresh onion. It's really pungent, but it works really well with the samsa. Oh, it smells beautiful. Okay, let's go in. All right. It's fatty and it's sinewy, but the meat parts around it are just melting away. It's been slow cooked for so long. It's very rich. Oh. I can imagine this in the winter. Loads of flavor of the pepper as well coming through it. Just really well seasoned because of that stock. I need to go with this. Oh my gosh, that is hearty, it is warming. But considering how much fat is in there, it's not leaving you with that greasy upper lip that so many of these like fatty oily stews do. I'm super impressed. Let's get some of this bread. Yeah, good idea. Danelle's just said, get that bread in that samsa. That's the way you gotta have it. That's a game changer. That bread is dense and it just soaks it up like a sponge. Wow. We'll drop all the locations down in the caption below. Samsa #1. It is #1 for a reason. We've had a few shawarmas in our time, but nothing like this. This is Muslim food. This is a really popular spot. Don't get fooled by the exterior. It's a massively popular spot here in Kyrgyzstan for people who, after they've had a few drinks, maybe a little bit of a smoke, they come here and they have this. So this is their shawarma, but they make it completely different. So it's loads of yogurt with local cheese, tomato, salad, and then they pile on mountains of chips and mountains of meat. They are very generous. This weighs the same as a small child. And it's served on this lavash bread, so it's really thin. I just need to tuck into this thing. These people have been flying in and out for like the last half hour. Okay, here we go. Kyrgyzstan knows how to do a shawarma, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. It's packed full of veggies. So you're getting crunchy like cabbage, lettuce, carrot, cucumber. I want to get some more of the meat. Have a look inside. So it's just layered. Give me some of that meat. There we go. It's like doner meat. It's fatty, it's peppery, and then they've put on loads of this chili sauce, so it's just got a kick of heat. But this is filling food. Soak up all that booze up. I tell you what, considering how much meat we've got in there, and yogurt and cheese, it's actually not too heavy. I thought it was gonna be super greasy and oily, but I think it's the veggies that are gonna balance it out. It's not traditional food by any means in Kyrgyzstan, but my God, is it delicious. Look at this. This is cool. Oh my God, I've never been in a yurt before. So this is a traditional house. So before all of this was built, they're up in the mountains trying to keep warm. They would build these yurts
probably around a big central fire, and that's where they cook all of the traditional Kyrgyzstan food. Obviously, it's been a little bit more elevated and refined nowadays, but nevertheless, we're going to get some good, proper Kyrgyzstan food. I'm super excited. Let's go. Okay, so this is the traditional Kyrgyz feast. We've got Bishbarmak, so this is the cold noodles that's then topped with that sauteed meat that's slowly reduced in the stock with onions. It smells fantastic. Obviously, we had to have some horse and what looks like intestines with a bit of the fat. And this little fella here, this is the head. So Danelle was explaining to me, in tradition, the elders get the good parts of the meat. They get the legs, they get the ribs, and then they get the head. This is for the respectable guests. And then as you get younger, you get the offcuts and stuff like that. I'm interested to try this. It does look a bit intimidating. And this is Kumis. This is horse milk, naturally fermented. I'm told that it's incredibly sour and somewhat alcoholic. Big win. All right, I'm gonna try this one first. Wow, that is sour. That is sour. That's like the strongest dulce I've ever had in my life. Yeah, it's salty, it's sour. You get that yogurt kind of flavor from it. And it's, yeah, it's incredibly sour, but I imagine with this fatty meat, it's gonna work wonderfully. So this dish is Beshbarmak, 5 fingers. You gotta go in with the hands. Okay. I think that's the best food of the day. That is really, really good. It's rich, it's fatty, it's meaty, and then there's the onion in there as well. It's just like it's like a meat reduction stock. And the noodles and the pasta are like really, really delicate and light and fluffy. You can tell that they made them fresh. I'm not sure on the eating technique with the 5 fingers. That is sensational. Like Kyrgyzstan, the food has really, really surprised me. So let's go in for try the head first. You know what, I wasn't expecting to like this. I thought it was going to be really, really awfully and kind of somewhat gamey. It's lovely, it's gelatinous, it's obviously soft, it's tender, but it's really tasty. It's quite a subtle flavour. It's just the texture's a bit unusual, but it's just like flaky meat. It just falls off the bone and the tongue. Let's get his tongue out. Oh, right, okay. All right, okay, here we go. That's more awfully. It's not the worst tongue I've had. Quite a mild flavour. You know what, I think anyone could actually try that and enjoy it. But I'm saying that the actual meat itself is super, super tender. And it's actually quite delicious. It's fatty, it's very full of collagen. It's delicious. It really is, I'm not just saying it for the camera. I'd actually sit down and enjoy that. But I tell you what, we've been in Kyrgyzstan for just one day, and I've learned so much more about the culture and about the people as well. And I think this is what really excites me about food blogging, is exploring other people's culture through the food. It's a new experience, but I absolutely love it. And I'm a bit out of my depth, but we're working with it. And I've had a thoroughly good day. I think I'm just gonna carry on enjoying this food. Yeah, you're gonna have to just give me 5. I wanna enjoy this in peace. Thank you very much.
The next morning, we were up to meet Sanish, also known as Kyrgyz, who's one of the biggest vloggers in the country. Now, he was taking us deep into the mountains to cook us a meal Kyrgyz style. But after a 4-hour drive from Bishkek, our car couldn't make it up the mountain, so we had to jump in with Kyrgyz and his friends. 4 of us in the back over some of the wildest and most rugged terrain I've ever seen in my life. But we had to beat the sunlight, so there was no slowing down. These guys were pedal to the metal the entire way up, which unfortunately took a toll on the car. The car overheated and we had to stop to take a break to let it cool down. But that was the least of our problems. As we moved further up the road, there was a river that was breaking over the path, and it was massive. A bit of hopscotch over the rocks unfortunately led to an early morning swim and some soaking wet socks and shoes for the rest of the day. But the guys didn't seem fazed. They'd been here before and they knew they could press on over this rugged terrain. And finally, we reached our lunch spot for the afternoon. A yurt village hidden deep in the mountains next to a calming lake. I couldn't have asked for a better spot. So after 4 hours of trekking it through the mountains, a couple car breakdowns, we are finally here. This is our base for the day. And if you ever seen a location as stunning as this, this is why people come to Kyrgyzstan. The natural beauty, the people, the culture is absolutely fantastic. And then obviously we're setting up camp here and Kyrgyz is going to cook us a mighty meal. This is what I'm super excited for. But these guys have been so hospitable, making me feel really welcome. I don't know what they're saying, but a lot of laughs so far. Time to eat. We started our meal with a snack of fresh watermelon and homemade kaymak given to us by one of the villagers. It's a thick cream served with bread and it was absolutely superb. And then we got to cooking. While Kyrgyz now has a chain of restaurants across the country, he started here by doing wilderness cooking content and kindly got me involved in the process. I've been watching videos like this for years on YouTube, so it's great to see what goes on behind the scenes. The first step was prepping the fire. They had a gigantic slate of rock that I needed to wash and put on top of the flame. Unfortunately, it did explode shortly after this due to the heat, but we got it sorted and then we moved on to the bread. Flour with local yeast, salt, and a bit of kaymak. For the burger patties, they used local beef, mixed with fat which they actually chop by hand. Sinish had a seasoning pack that he added all sorts of spices to it, and then the two of us sat forming patties in front of the lake in the mountains. It was at this point I felt like I was David Attenborough or Anthony Bourdain, living a real-life documentary and having an absolute whirlwind of a time. The food had become secondary at this point. It was spending time with people I'd never met before in a location I'd never been, but connecting through food, which is the one thing that I love. And the final product was some extra cheesy, juicy burgers, which you know I absolutely love. It was such an experience, and I'd happily go back and do it again.
You know I've had quite a few burgers in my time, but this is the most rewarding burger I've ever had. Not only just filming in this location with these wonderful guys, but it's just the time and effort that they've all put in to create such a wonderful burger. I've tasted it. It's fantastic. Thank you, brother.
Welcome to Kyrgyzstan.
Thank you very much. After the insane journey that Kakeem and his boys took us on yesterday, I had to come and check out his restaurant. Now, he's got 7 branches across Kyrgyzstan, which is mind-blowing. We've come to here today, which is their studio place. It's gorgeous, and Kakeem is kindly going to give us a tour and show us around, and then obviously we're going to tuck into some incredible food. First of all, thank you for yesterday. Insane. Fantastic. Okay, after you, lead the way. So this is where the magic happens. This is his homemade smoker. And this thing is absolutely loaded with meat. So what have we got in here?
Здесь говяжьи ребрышки и грудинка, брискет. 6 часов мы вот так коптим, потом заворачиваем в фольге и еще 6 часов вот так держим. Тут баранина, грудинка и ребрышки говяжьи. Вот так тут готовится.
So I spied this as I was walking past. This is their bakery, and Shnis was just explaining to us that they serve the brisket with the bread, and after he cooked the best bread for us yesterday for those buns, I had to come take a look. So this is their operation here. It's got a yurt on it. Oh, Kakeem, my brother, has sorted us out. Look at that. All right, so let's explain what we've got on this absolutely mammoth platter. So we've got brisket, we've got some of the national sausage, we've got chicken, we've got farel, named after the rapper, and then we've also got some lamb ribs. We've got a brisket quesadilla with birria sauce, ladies and gentlemen, and some rice, just in case we're not quite full up. I mean, I knew we were in for a treat at Kakeem's restaurant. I mean, from what we saw yesterday, I knew this guy was going to be a bit of a pro, but not like this. This is insane. Let me try and give you a look at this brisket. Look at it. Look at that. And it is just tender as you like. When I came to Kyrgyzstan, I wasn't expecting to be eating brisket, but you can see how the country is modernized. We've gone from traditional food, which obviously there is definitely still around, but now you can see that the demand is changing towards what they see in Western cultures perhaps. But this is done to a really high quality. Oh, and we've got some horse meat as well, if I haven't had enough. All right, I'm gonna tuck in, I need to go in for this brisket. I'm just gonna try it on its own. I want a really fatty piece. Okay, here we go. You know I've had some brisket in Dubai. Damn nearly choked there, nearly choked. It's fatty. It's extremely rich, but it's the rub, the rub that he's put on top of the meat is completely different flavour. It's a lot more subtle than the ones that I've had before, but it's more peppery, good salt, like good salty flavour to it. Lovely piece of chicken in that. Try some of these sauces. Now I can see why this guy's a superstar in this country. Cleaning hands and cleaning face is an important part of every food blogging ritual, okay? Nobody wants to see grubby hands on camera. Okay, bit of this Pharrell Williams as well. Mate, the skin is where it's at. It's a similar flavour and flaky texture to salmon, but it's that rub that he puts on it. I saw him freestyling in the burgers yesterday. It's like this guy knows a thing or two about spices. Quesadilla, gonna get a little close-up dip, is it? Oh. That cheese is going in that birria before it goes in my mouth. Or is it? Let's try this brisket quesadilla. Heavy on the sauce, heavy on the cheese, but when you've got that brisket in it, we're laughing. Oh, that is tasty. Favourite thing, you're never gonna guess this, neither will you, the fish. The fish is absolutely lovely, and I am not a fish guy. Wow, it's time for me and the boys to finish off some of this. We've finished our shoot for the day, but I just wanted to say a huge heartfelt thank you, not just for today and showing us your amazing restaurant, but for showing us the true side of Kyrgyzstan. I never thought I was going to see. We've had a wonderful time, and when you come to Dubai, you are our guest. We will take you to all the places. Thank you.
Все, келгениңерге рахмат. Ардайым қуанышта болабыз.
Stay tuned for the Dubai video. Yalla.
For our final day, we headed back up into the mountains to visit one of the most popular restaurants for tourists in the country called Sapara. It's designed in a traditional Kyrgyz style in a gigantic yurt, and we had high hopes to enjoy some traditional Kyrgyz cuisine. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, the food was pretty mid, so instead we drank a couple bottles of red wine and took the opportunity to make the most of our location, hopped on a couple of horses, and set out on the open road. This was probably my third time ever being on a horse, and I'm actually terrified of horses, so I wasn't the most eager. But during my ride into the mountains, the real charm of this country became apparent. Its natural beauty is unlike anything I've seen. Sure, it's rustic, there's certain parts that won't appeal to tourists, but the outside areas, the mountains, the forests are unlike anything I've ever seen before. And being on the back of the horse with my friends, trekking up the mountain, was definitely the way that I wanted to explore this country. For anyone visiting Kyrgyzstan for the first time, or whether you're returning again, jumping on the back of the horse and exploring the mountains, the proper old Kyrgyz way, is definitely the way you should do it. I highly recommend it.
We've spent 4 days in Kyrgyzstan, and I've absolutely loved the experiences I've had here. I came to this country because I knew absolutely zero about it, and I've just been so impressed, not just by the food and the people and their hospitality, but the place itself. This place has so much natural beauty, and I think if anyone appreciates that, wants that peace, wants that silence, and wants a new experience unlike anything they've done before, they need to come to this country. A huge thanks to Danelle for arranging everything, taking care of everything, and for Kyrgyz as well for hosting us. It's been a sensational experience, and I cannot wait to come back again. But where should we go next? Drop down in the comments. If you watched this far, a big thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. More food content coming soon.